Welcome, fam. What's going on? Kyle Henderson, BamaInsider.com. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. Hope you guys are doing well. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I already got a super chat. We appreciate it. What's up, John? Appreciate it, man. What are we hearing about Brian Branch? Well, right now, Malachi Moore is the freshman that's standing out. So we'll talk more about the team, but I appreciate the super chats. We'll catch up more super chat wise back on BamaInsider.com. So a lot to talk about, and I think everybody wants to talk about the weather, right? Post where you guys are coming in from in the comment box, and then of course, call in 205-850-0883 is the call line number. Appreciate it. We got Tyler Waldrop back in production. He's going to be taking your calls, and I'll be catching up with you guys tonight. I wanted to put up this kind of graphic right here. Talk about this weather. 205-850-0883 is the call line number. And what do you guys think is going to happen for this week? Do you think the game looks like it's going to go down? I mean, from what I gather, this game is going to take place. So here's the weather model right here, and it looks like this weather is going to come obviously into Mississippi, but I think it's just going to be wet. So don't think it's going to happen Friday, obviously, and I don't think it's going to happen Sunday. Call in 205-850-0883 is the call line number. Here are my big three questions kind of going into this week. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Kyle Henderson at BamaInsider.com. Who will play better in the slot, Ole Miss or Alabama? I think kind of as Landon Dickerson alluded to, the run game hasn't been where it needed to be. So I think the quick answer to that is I think Alabama, kind of a team that if they need to, they can be really effective, I think, on the ground, most importantly. They really haven't had to be effective on the ground, in my opinion, just yet. But I think, obviously, with Najee Harris and Brian Robinson, they can go ground heavy if they need to. Of course, Mac Jones has been balling out. We'll talk about him more on the show tonight. But I think, who could fare well, who could do better tonight or who can do better in the game if it's raining all night? I think the simple answer is Alabama. Najee Harris, I like to see him get a ton of carries. Calling line is 205-850-0883 is the calling line number. Ton of stuff coming your way on BamaInsider.com. Of course, you got the Nick Saban press conference. What do you think of Kiffin, calling Saban elderly? We have that soundbite. Well, not from Kiffin, but here was Nick Saban's response to being called elderly by Lane Kiffin.
On at you a few times today. He was asked about the Saban versus Kiffin matchup. He said, "We're not playing, but if we did, he couldn't cover me. I'm worried about him because he's elderly." Would you like to respond to that?
No, I think he's probably right. I wouldn't disagree with him. I guess what I would ask is when he's my age, what's he going to be like? And I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit of a, disadvantage to be, my age and have had a hip replacement. But, I still pride myself in my ability to cover. I just don't think I could cover him.
All right. So, of course, I think a lot of, Kiffin's game is he's always been, trolling. And I think every time, he gets into the headlines, it's because of the simple troll factor that he has. That's just part of his game. And I'm really interested. I think right there, poking the GOAT, I don't think that's a good idea. I think Nick Saban obviously taking the high road. But I think what's going to happen is Nick Saban's going to put it on Ole Miss. You look at the last couple of times these two teams played, it hasn't really been close. And in fact, Alabama has been scoring a ton of points. I mean, you look at 2019 through 2017, even in that 2016 matchup when, it was a shootout. I mean, you look at 59-31, that was last season. Last time they were in Oxford, it was 62-7. 2017, it was 66-3. In 2016, it was 48-43. And then Ole Miss taking two from Alabama in 2015 and 2014, 43-37, and then 23-17. Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. Call-in line is at the bottom of the screen, 205-850-0883. Taking your calls tonight as we gear up for Alabama and Ole Miss. I said earlier, where everyone wants to know about the weather. Everybody wants to talk about Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban. Well, here's what the weather is looking like. This was just pulled just recently, and looks like obviously it's going to be raining on Saturday, but I don't think it's really going to affect the game that much other than it's going to be a rainy game. Nick Saban said that they practice with the wet ball all practice, and I think if they have to go ground heavy, they simply will. Want to say thank you very much to our 38,000 subscribers now on our YouTube channel. Really unbelievable that you guys, 38,000 strong right here on BamaInsider.com as we march towards 50,000 on Bama Insider. Want to give a quick shout out to our Super Chat Hall of Honor. We had some good support last night for Andrew Bone and Mick Gillespie. did a great job on the recruiting show. And then, of course, on Wednesday night, we talked team. Getting back to those three questions, the second question, can Ole Miss really hang? Something that we're about to find out shortly. I was looking at the stats and kind of the side-by-side comparison of the two teams. I mean, you have Matt Corral is doing fantastic. There is numbers are right in passing, 46 of 60, 715 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 1 interception. We've been talking about Mac Jones, and you can see his numbers on the right. For comparison's sake, you could say Matt Corral's numbers are better, right? Mac Jones, 38 of 51, 684 yards with 6 touchdowns and 1 interception. I mean, Matt Corral's been doing a great job. And as you saw, they pulled out the overtime victory. Call in line at the bottom of the screen. 205-850-0883 is the call in line number. A lot of people want to talk about Elijah Moore. 20 receptions, 319 yards with 1 touchdown. Of course, for Alabama, you have Jalen Waddle. 13 receptions, 276 yards with 3 touchdowns. Just a man on fire, really. And then welcome to the show, John Mechie. 7 receptions, 223 yards with 2 touchdowns. Devontae Smith, 14 receptions, 152 yards with 1 touchdown. Remember that game that Devontae Smith had against Ole Miss last year? What was that, 5 touchdowns? I think it was 5 touchdowns. Really unbelievable. Just an incredible performance. So we'll see what happens. But I love the side-by-side comparison. But I think, if Alabama really has to go ground heavy, they absolutely will. As we kind of look at the game details, game is scheduled for Saturday at 5 p.m. on ESPN. We'll obviously notify you if there is a time change. First 2 games for Alabama, they beat up on Missouri in that opener, 38-19 on the road, and then opened up with a home victory against Texas A&M, 52-24. I thought they did a good job. Obviously improving. The passing game looked legit. It was a beautiful day at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Mac Jones continues to have a stellar season. Ole Miss on the other side lost to Florida, who looks like one of the best teams, either them or Georgia in the East, right? Kyle Trask doing a fantastic job. That score was 51-35. And then they beat Kentucky in overtime, 42-41. Call in line at the bottom of the screen, 205-850-0883. Appreciate you guys watching. My name is Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. But I think the story, obviously, focuses on Kiffin. And if he can be that first coach, assistant coach, that coached under Nick Saban to beat Nick Saban head-to-head, right? I mean, this is a guy who, has done a good job everywhere he's went, especially lately, right? I mean, otherwise he wouldn't have landed that job at Ole Miss. This is the most remarkable stat, is just the fact that Saban is 20-0 against former assistants, right? I mean, that's a mind-boggling stat. And you look at the coaches that Nick Saban will face in the next couple of weeks. They're all former assistants. Got Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss. Then you got Kirby Smart. We've talked about Kirby Smart. He's had Nick Saban on the ropes a couple of times. Then you got Jeremy Pruitt. All those guys, former coaches, former assistants here at Alabama. And, of course, you had Jimbo Fisher. And it's really quite remarkable that, Saban is undefeated. Those guys know Saban, but Saban also knows those guys. Talk about Mac Jones. Call line is open at the bottom of the screen. 205-850-0883 is the call line number. I mean, hey, thank you, Bombs. Appreciate it. Bombs always dropping bombs. Yeah, glad I'm back. Last night, went and checked out my son's game. They played Brookwood. If you're familiar with kind of the Tuscaloosa area, Brookwood, I think it's out by Vance, Alabama, kind of by the Mercedes-Benz factory. So I went out there, and it was Brookwood by a few points. It was a great game. But thank you very much, Bombs. We appreciate it. The numbers by Mac Jones are unbelievable, right? What's up, Colin? See you. 38 of 51, 684 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, passer rating at 222.1. What he's done is just phenomenal. And I know there was sort of a camp out there that didn't feel he could get the job done. And he still has to prove that he can get the job done in crunch time. And he's going to have, of course, another opportunity on Saturday. And, of course, the big one will be against Georgia's defense. Can Mac Jones beat a Georgia team that looks fantastic, especially on the defensive side of the ball? Can't wait till that game. But, of course, we got to get through this game against Ole Miss. And I think Alabama's favored by like 23 points or something like that. Call in line at the bottom of the screen, 205-850-0883. Now is the time to call in. Take your calls, and we can talk about this game, the particulars about Alabama, Ole Miss. I mean, to be straightforward, in my opinion, I think that Alabama is going to be able to really control this game against Ole Miss. I think, Lane Kiffin, yeah, it's a great headline. It's something to talk about. But plain and simple, I think, the fact that Alabama's ground game hasn't been where it's needed to be, I think it's kind of almost foreshadowing what Landon Dickerson said. He said that they're not happy with the production of the running game. And I just think that Alabama really hasn't had to go ground heavy just because the offense has been so productive throwing the football. And if they need to, all they have to do is give the football to Najee Harris. I mean, Najee Harris has been doing a fantastic job when he gets the football. I thought Brian Robinson played exceptional last week. He actually led the team in rushing. I have the stats somewhere on here. Najee Harris, 29 attempts, 141 yards. Actually has 4 receptions for 34 yards. He catches the football so well out of the backfield. We've talked about that before. Brian Robinson with 14 carries, 78 yards. And Trey Sanders with 11 carries for 15 yards on the season. I want to see more from Trey Sanders before I make like a final assessment, right? I know everybody's so fixated about, the 9 carries for 1 yard against Missouri, but let's see a larger sample size before we really write him off. I think he's going to do just fine when he gets opportunities. Part of that, I think, was the offensive line. Part of that was him. More of a sample size. As kind of look at the defensive stats, Kristen Harris, 14 tackles, solo tackles, 16 total tackles, leads the team. He's playing phenomenal. Kristen Harris, he's only a sophomore. Jordan Battle, only a sophomore. When you look at this sophomore group, I mean, it's pretty special, right? All these guys that are second-year players getting playing time, really, really impressive. Kristen Harris, I know, and I keep saying this, every time, you get worried that Dylan Moses is going to leave, you got Kristen Harris that's going to be right there and has that same IQ. Very hard-hitting player. I've been calling, people have been referring to, or it was Sarkisian, I think, who dubbed it. Anderson's the Terminator. Well, I'm calling, Kristen Harris the missile. Didn't they call Reuben Foster that? Call line is open. 205-850-0883 is the call line number. Happy to take your calls. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And, I think everybody's kind of, thinking about what's going to happen this week, and rightfully so. But it appears that we will be, maybe not in the best shape weather-wise, but the game is going to take place. Because there was some talk that it could be happening on Friday and then on Sunday, but I think it's just going to be in the slop, so I think they'll be fine. Well, welcome to the show, John Mechie. I mean, we talked about him, many times after the game. I mean, came into this game, sophomore, and people were asking, who's going to be Alabama's third receiver? Well, that was obviously John Mechie. 5 receptions, 181 yards, 2 touchdowns, right? His average was 36.2. Really, really amazing what he did against Texas A&M. I mean, Alabama, clearly can do what they want and score at will. I mean, you know what was crazy is the fact that Alabama scored, 52 points in just 22 minutes. And people want to talk about, it's all the defense. The defense sucks. The defense isn't, up to par. They want to see a different defensive coordinator. Look, I mean, the offense is only out there 22 minutes. So, I mean, that means the defense is going to be on the field. And let's face it, it's a different game. I mean, this isn't the old school where Alabama's going to control the time of possession and, keep the defense or the opposing offense off the field. You're going to see a lot of offense. And, you got to just you got to get used to that. So I don't know. I think it's too early to start calling for Pete Golding. I mean, let's kind of wait till we get to the, middle of the season to make assessments on all these guys. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. What's your take on Alabama's defense? Maybe you can call in and talk about it with me. 205-850-0883 is the call line number. Definitely check out our recruiting show, which we had with Andrew Bone. That was on last night. Him and Mick did a great job. You got JaQuincy McKinstry, Kool-Aid. He is about to make his announcement on October 25th. What do you think? Alabama? Think he'll roll Tide? What do you think Alabama is going to get Terry Arnold out of Tallahassee? Terry Arnold, fantastic player. I mean, both those guys. I think either way that, whatever player decides to come to Alabama, I think it's going to be, a great addition. Appreciate all the comments in the comment box. And David, what's up, man? I see you. We got prayers for you guys, with hurricane headed that way. So, we'll keep you in our prayers and hopefully you guys will be all right. These hurricanes, man, it's just, this 2020 has been such a wild year. Hey, Jonathan, I see you. Appreciate it, man. Yeah. I never stepped away. I just want to make sure that, we got Mick on board. So he does a fantastic job for us. But I'm always here, man. I'm always working, making sure that, we're providing, the best content for you guys right here on BamaInsider.com. Hey, I'd appreciate it if you guys give like and subscribe to our channel so you never miss, news when we drop it right here on BamaInsider.com. Curious to get your take about, this weekend's game. Call line is open, 205-850-0883. We need to use Trey Sanders more. What's up, Mark? Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Super chats basically like tips. People are always like, what are super chats? They're basically like tips. You can hit the $sign in the comment box. Appreciate it. Or you could just hit the thumbs up. Either way. I mean, obviously we're all, blessed to be here and to be together. So, it's, while the tips are great, thumbs up are also, fantastic. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's see. So thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. What's up, Donald? Roll Tide to you, buddy. Hope you have a good night. Kiffin loves the pass. Yeah, I think, when you look at this game, just like Saban said, they practice with the wet ball. I don't think, and I'm curious to see the game plan. In my opinion, I think it's quite simple. Feed Najee Harris, feed Brian Robinson, take away that time of possession, because I do think that Ole Miss has an offense that is capable to put up points. I think, this is the world we live in, right? I had the side-by-side stats on the screen. Look at the production from Matt Corral, right? 46 of 60, 715 yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. It's done fantastic. And we got our first caller on the line. Thurman from Alabama wants to talk about the defense. Thurman, what's up, man?
Yes, how you doing?
Thank you for joining me.
How you doing?
It. Yeah, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, I heard you talk about a minute ago that somebody they was talking like the defense ain't really doing their job or doing what they're supposed to do. If you had any opinions about it, I think they're doing pretty good considering they ain't had but a few games under their belt. Got a lot of young guys, but with Mosley and everybody in there, I believe they're starting to get primed up. And by the Auburn game, I guarantee you there won't be no doubt in their defense or offense by then.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it. I'm kind of with the camp with you. When I look at the defense, and I'll say this a bunch of times, look at the time of possession. You leave an opposing offense out there for 37 minutes. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to score points, right? So, and I get it. It's not Alabama's fault. What are you going to tell Jalen Waddle or John Mechie to run out of bounds so you can control time of possession? These guys are just that electric. So it's kind of like, double-edged sword. I don't know, people want to, are so accustomed to seeing Alabama's defense not allowing a lot of points, but this is a different age,
right?
And Alabama is now going to score 50, 60 points. Is that good? Yeah, it's good. They're still effective, but people are always going to point the finger at the defense.
Right. And like I said, it's going to pick up. It's just a couple games in, and you give them the time to get primed up. And I'm telling you, by Auburn game, there won't be no doubt in the defense or the offense. It'll be undeniable. And we will, I don't know how they're going to work the championship, but we will receive that trophy again this year.
Yeah, I think when you kind of look at the college football landscape, the big ones are out there. It's going to be the same teams, right? You got Clemson, you got Georgia. What do you think about who do you think the best team in the East is? I know it's early, but do you think it's Florida? Do you think it's Georgia? What's kind of your early assessment?
Well, Florida, Florida they running wild. Georgia just now starting to get up there, but I don't think they can. It's going to be a tight between them. But I wouldn't be scared. I'd be kind of a little scared of Tennessee too, but because Tennessee, they starting to wise up a little bit. We'll find out soon, but all in all, between them two, I would say probably Florida would edge Georgia out. Really for the East.
Yeah, I think
it'd be probably Alabama and Florida for the SEC.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point. I mean, don't sleep on Tennessee. I mean, I watched them against Missouri, and I thought their defense was improved. I thought they ran the football effectively. So there it is on the screen right now. You got Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, all those teams right now undefeated in the SEC East. I think Florida, I mean, they're dangerous because of that. That tight. Have you seen their tight end, Kyle Pitts? I think he has 6 touchdowns, something like that. Pretty incredible.
Yeah. I know it. And but the thing is, Clemson ain't what Clemson used to be. Clemson ain't what Clemson. I believe Clemson gonna get beat before the year's over with by one of their conference games, by probably North Carolina. But for all in all, I don't know how they're gonna work the championship. I really don't. But if it comes down to 2 teams, Alabama's getting that trophy. So they're going for number 18.
You know what? Last year, when I look at that game between North Carolina and Clemson, North Carolina,
that was ridiculous.
Why did they that 2-point conversion that they did at the end of the game when they did an option?
Ridiculous.
It was the stupidest play I saw. But Max did a great job at North Carolina. I mean, he certainly resurrected the program. Yeah. They could certainly be the team to beat Clemson. I just think that the ACC is still under Clemson's control. But we'll see. But I think overall, talent-wise, Alabama has a talent, and just like you're saying in the opening, I think the defense will get there. It's just going to take a little bit of time. Anything else while we got you on the show, buddy?
Oh yeah, that's it. Just say roll Tide, and we're gonna take the championship.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. Please call again next time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. That was Thurman from Alabama. Hey, grade A, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. I'm trying to set up some of my shows to be for a couple nonprofits that I want to help out. I've been tremendously blessed in my life, and I was checking out a couple, whether that was I looked into something kind of in the similar lines of Wounded Warrior. There's Special Spectators. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Call 9 at the bottom of the screen. Special Spectators is pretty cool. They for these kids who are going through who have terminal illness, they bring them to the football game. I got a chance to meet these guys last year. They bring them to Bryant-Denny and they give them like a whole game experience, and then they take them to Michigan or they take them to Gainesville in Florida. And I was thinking, some of those shows could be for some of these kids. So stay tuned for that, because I think, it's all great, for the super chats for us, but I think, kind of paying it forward is what it's all about as well. So kind of stay tuned on that, because I'm all about, making sure everybody's taken care of for sure. Call line is open. 205-850-0883 is the call line number. When we kind of look at the SEC overall, I think I have some stats that I'm about to pull up in a second. We look at the quarterback stats. You got the kid from Mississippi State. I mean, look at those numbers, right? He's got what is it? Almost 1,000 yards. But he's got 6 touchdowns, and then he has 5 interceptions. He's been sacked 6 times. Then you have Matt Corral from Ole Miss, who Alabama will take on this weekend, 715 yards. He's got 7 passing touchdowns, as we talked about, and 1 interception. Then you have Kyle Trask. So as Nick Saban said, I think he said this Monday, I mean, there's a lot of very good quarterbacks in the league. Kyle Trask has 10 passing touchdowns and 1 interception. All these guys after a fantastic start. And as I just said, Kyle Pitts for Florida, I think he has like six touchdowns or something like that. And then you got Mac Jones, actually 4th right there with 684 yards, 6 passing touchdowns. So we look at the running back stats right here in the SEC. Call line is open, by the way. Numbers at the bottom of the screen, 205-850-0883. Update your phone book, if you will. I know we had a different number. Where are all the Alabama players at, right? I mean, maybe they'll emerge going into week 4. But as you can see, it's Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, all the teams, that run the ball a little bit more than Alabama. And then you see Najee Harris there at the bottom with 141 yards. But what does he have, like 5 touchdowns, I think? Every time he's in the red zone, he's scoring a touchdown. Receiving-wise, you got Elijah Moore up at the top. Alabama will take on him. And Saban talked about Moore and just the effectiveness that Moore has. He's not the biggest wide receiver. He's no DK Metcalf, right? But he's still very productive. 20 receptions, 319 yards. I was watching some highlights of him today. He returns kicks, punts, very dangerous. Then you got Jalen Waddle, 13 receptions. Look at that average, 21.23, 87 his longest. Mississippi State. And then, Kyle Pitts right there. He has 12 receptions for 227 yards. And like I said, 6 touchdowns. And then you got Mechie. Wow. 7 receptions for 223 yards. So Alabama certainly can put the points on the board and have been doing a good job with that. Call line is open. 205-850-0883 is the call line number. And I'll take your calls right here at BamaInsider.com. We got great stuff on BamaInsider.com coming your way. We got the Tailgate Show, which is Friday, trying to get that kicked off. So you'll see it pop up in your YouTube notifications, or you can go to BamaInsider.com. Mick Gillespie has been doing a great job. We got 3-2-1 now posted by Tony Tsoukalis, and that's 3 questions, 2 things we've learned, 1 prediction, and that's kind of going into the week. So you got all sorts of content at Bama Insider. And then, of course, you got the recruiting stuff from Andrew Bone of BamaInsider.com. He does such a great job for us right here on BamaInsider.com. He's actually in the Virgin Islands, right? So the book selling business must be going well. But, we like to give him vacation during actual football time because you have 21 commitments, pretty much locked up. So, you know how much he grinded during the summertime. So he'll be back, and hopefully he'll be refreshed for the final push of, the recruiting season. As you know, signing day pushed up to December 20th or whatever it is. Kyle Henderson coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Please hit the thumbs up button. I know that it's easy to do. Just hit the thumbs up button if you like the content you're seeing right here on our channel. We got now 38,000 subscribers, which I'm really grateful for. You guys have done a great job, showing us support, and we put a lot into this. So thank you very much for being with us and supporting us from the ground up. We got another caller here coming in pretty soon, and we'll take that. But kind of getting to our week 3 questions, kind of what's at stake, and that was kind of my last question. What's at stake in this game? I mean, Alabama's certainly got to stay on top, right? And I think what's at stake for Ole Miss, it's always going to be bigger for Ole Miss just because Alabama's, that's the target. Everybody wants to beat Alabama. Everybody wants to, dethrone, the GOAT. And I think that Alabama, all they got to do is go over there, take care of business. They can't look towards next week, which will be that Georgia game. We'll talk about that game as when it comes. We'll start talking about it Sunday. But I think that if Alabama just goes to Ole Miss, takes care of business, I think if they play ground-heavy football, limit turnovers, I think Alabama wins by, what was the line, like 23 points? You take that? I probably would. Alabama doing such an effective job putting up points. So I guess we'll see. Jonathan has it, 38-10, low scoring. Isn't that funny? Low scoring, 38-10, right? Still almost 50 points. I don't know. We'll see. Call line is open. 205-850-0883 is the call line number. Got the Tailgate Show coming up. And, of course, this weekend, you got Alabama and Ole Miss. Kind of look at Alabama's schedule the rest of the way. I mean, there's no breaks. I think people aren't used to this. I think Alabama fans are a little bit you get sleepy, right? Because you're so used to the Colorado States, the New Mexico States, my alma mater. And there's no breaks this year, fam. You got Ole Miss, Alabama, clearly the favorite. Then you got Georgia, an improved Tennessee. I don't know what to think for Mississippi State. Then you got LSU. You got to get them on the rebound. Kentucky, their defense is pretty good. Put up a lot of points against Ole Miss. Then you got Auburn. And then you got Arkansas, who just beat Mississippi State. So I don't know. It's going to be an exciting season as we continue to push forward. And we will now take our next caller. DeMarco, what's good, man?
What's going on, fam? How you doing?
Good, man. DeMarco from the ATL. Thank you very much for calling in. We appreciate it, man. What's on your mind, DeMarco?
Yeah, so, we have a lot of people that have this misconception about what it is that Pete Golding really is, right? And I tell people all the time, there's a couple of things that you have to keep in mind. One, to undermine Pete Golding is to undermine Nick Saban. It's to undermine his judgment and what it takes to call his defense and to be in that position. All of his previous defensive coordinators, for the most part, outside of Kirby, won their championships around the second or third year. And I think if we trust Nick Saban, we trust his assessment and what it is a defensive play caller should do. But what this boils down to, what we've seen from our defense, is guys just making mental errors. For 4 quarters of football, guys making mental errors. We talked about this after the game last week. We have Dylan Moses, who doesn't cover the tight end because the tight end gets jammed up so well by the defensive end. I forget who that was there on that play, but he doesn't notice him because he got jammed up so well, and he didn't get a free release, right? And so we talk about Drew Sanders last week. He misses the wheel route and gets lost in coverage, touchdown. So I just kind of wanted to get your opinion on that and just to, see what you thought about that.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you very much for calling in again. I think you provide a lot of great dialogue to the show, so continue to call in. I really appreciate it, DeMarco. I think I get what you're saying. When you kind of look at the defense, yeah, Pete Golding is a scapegoat for everything, right? Something, you stub your toe, you're like Pete Golding. Something happens, you're like Pete Golding. And you have to remember, Nick Saban is a defensive-minded coach. He coaches a secondary.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really Nick Saban's defense. People don't probably want to come out and say that, but it's Nick Saban's defense. I mean, he's a defensive-minded coach. So I think, like, I'm with you. Like, if he needed to cut bait with Pete Golding, he would have done that after last season. I think he sees, some promise within Golding. I think he's going to try to mentor Pete Golding the best that he can. If you heard Golding, I mean, he knows it from an IQ standpoint. Now it's all about the player production. So I think, we'll get a better assessment as we go forward. I don't know, if I want to start calling for Pete Golding, or if I agree with people saying that he needs to get out. I'm not in that camp right now. And I think when you look at the schematics, yeah, I mean, Dylan Moses, he hasn't played inside linebacker for quite some time. Remember, he's coming back from that ACL. Yeah, he got caught in that nickel formation where he was out there covering number 0 from A&M, who did a fantastic job. I mean, he probably would have scored against a lot of guys from Alabama anyways. I mean, that was just a good ball. That was a good route. I mean, it was a one-on-one coverage. So, I think overall the defense is, there's been some things that I think they need to work on, just like on the offensive side of the ball. But I think so many people are just, they don't find, if they don't find something perfect, they're quick to point to the defense. So I think the defense will get there. I think they're going to have a good showing against Ole Miss if they can stop the run and be effective, which I think they've done so far. They'll put Ole Miss away, and a lot of it too, DeMarco. And I said this earlier on the show. I mean, Alabama's offense, this is like the most mind-blowing stat, only out there for 22 minutes. That's crazy.
Yeah. You have to have that balance between offense and defense. I mean, it's just, I tell people, it's the one thing to be a fan, and it's another thing to be a supporter. When you're a fan, I think fans, and I love our fam, I think we disregard a lot of things, and we don't really pay attention to what's happening. It's simple logic. If the offense is scoring quick, that means the defense is out there more plays, longer time, having to defend. Mm-hmm. And the more that happens, the more the yardage racks up. It's just simple logic. And sure. I think when you look at the numbers, you have to understand 24 points in today's SEC would be equivalent to 14, 13, exactly. maybe years ago.
Yep.
And, this is just simple logic. And it just shows that our league has changed. Times have changed. Nick Saban has just adapted. Yep. And he has made the adjustments. And Pete Golding, man, I'll be honest with you, I love Pete Golding, man. I think that young guy is bright. I think he's brilliant. I think he's got the energy. He's got these young guys moving fast. I mean, it's just like Will Anderson. Will Anderson makes a mistake 100 miles an hour. Sure. But he is flying.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. I mean, the speed of William Anderson and the speed of Kristen Harris. I mean, if you're an Alabama football fan, you're out there looking at those two guys on the defense. I mean, look at William Anderson. He's a freshman. Christian Harris, he's a sophomore. Jordan Battle, he's a sophomore. Malachi Moore, he's a freshman. I mean, all those guys are young guys, right? And I mean, I think that shows promise that's coming along. And then you got the vets, you got Patrick Surtain. Kind of jury's still out a little bit on Daniel Wright. And I know he came back with that big pick 6. And I heard he's a ball hawk. Like to see a little bit more physicality out of him. It was crazy, right? He allowed a 47-yard touchdown, and then he returned an interception for 47 yards. It's crazy. But DeMarco, before I let you go, I have to ask you about the kicking game. I mean, Will Riker has been really effective early on. He's done a good job with PATs. He's hit the field goals, 2 on the year, 2 for 2. So are you happy with what you've seen from Will Riker early on?
Yeah, the Achilles heel of our team the last few years has been no doubt our kicking game. And now it's the inverse. Is actually the punting game, right? We had J.K. Scott a while back. He would boot it 50 yards easy every time. But we talk about Will Riker, how impressed I am to finally be able to breathe when we have a guy that's going to go out there and do what we need to do. I mean, I'm going to tell you like this. Any real Bama fan, if you saw the look in Papanas's face when he missed that game-winning field goal against Georgia in the championship game a couple years ago, he looked like somebody that was scared for his life.
Yeah.
I mean, if you looked in his eyes, he knew. And that was the look that all of us fans had tenfold, right? But now Will Riker comes in. It is a fresh breeze in T-Town, beautiful T-Town, baby. And I think he'll be just fine. I hope he stays fresh. I saw that they put him on kickoff a couple of times last week. I don't know how much we'll do that because I think he got hurt actually doing the kickoff last year. So I kind of hope that we just keep him in the PAT game and field goal game. But real quick, I also wanted to ask you, Coach Saban made a remark about the special teams and everybody getting all these touchbacks with the new rules that they made to the kickoff and that kind of taking away that element of the game. Do you kind of agree with Coach on that? Do you see where he's coming from on that? What do you think about that?
Yeah, so check this out. And I was talking with our producer early on in the show. So I'm going to put up a graphic, okay? So if you look closely on the kickoff returns, and I'm putting this on the screen right now. First, I'll point out the punter, Sam Johnson for Alabama on the right of your screen. 5 punts, 183 yards, the average of 36.6. That's just not going to cut it. That has to improve. I mean, J.K. Scott, people want to see that type of production. But look at this for the kickoff returns. Do you see that? There's nothing. So Alabama hasn't even returned a kick yet, right? And who do you want to kick it to? I mean, yeah, I get it. You don't want to kick to Jalen Waddle. You don't want to kick to Devontae Smith. I think that's who they have back there. But point is, I think you bring up a good point. These guys just – they're not going to get their opportunities to, return kicks. And that's just kind of the game we have right now. So I found that interesting kind of going in that Alabama hasn't returned kickoff yet. But DeMarco, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate it. Please call again for our post-game show. Whenever this game, happens and whenever this game ends, hopefully it stays on schedule and we can, talk some more football this weekend. I appreciate it, DeMarco.
All right, fam. We'll talk soon. All right, now keep up the good work.
All right, take it easy.
All right.
There's my boy DeMarco out in the ATL. All right, we got Q from New York. Q, what's up, man?
Kyle, how you doing? Good evening.
Man, I've missed you, Q, man. I mean, you're the one carrying us all the way, blessings on blessings, man. You got us through 2020 when the times were tough. And, we needed to gut it out. So thank you very much for joining the show, man.
No problem. Thank you for having me on again.
So tell me, man, I know you like to talk the schematics of the game. Break this secondary down. What have you seen early on?
It's a little – they need to stop four-on tackling and start wrapping up. You know how we were taught in Pee-wees, you have to wrap up, make sure you secure the tackle. I mean, Daniel Wright, he's doing a great job in covering. They got to learn how to bring that arm and you bring both arms and wrap up. Secondaries, I like the secondary, but Patrick Surtain be getting beat like he stole something. I don't know about that. I think they should switch him and Job. I think Job should cover the strong side receivers and on that left side, and then have Patrick Surtain cover the weak side. I see him in the NFL playing on Sundays on the weak side, not the strong side. Just the way he plays, he gets beat like he stole something. So that's the only thing scary about the secondary is Surtain. He's our superstar, but he's also our scariest corner because his coverage is a little off past 2 games.
I don't know. I mean, I saw him make a good play on the ball. I saw him, he batted down 1 ball. He was targeted twice in that game, allowed 1 reception. So I guess, we'll have to get more of a sample size on him, and then maybe we can agree to disagree for right now on Surtain. But what about Daniel Wright? Break it down.
I mean, Daniel Wright, like I said, he just has to learn how to wrap up. He's great at covering. We know that his bloodline is from the NFL, but when you're playing for Alabama, it's either you want to cover or you're going to see your ass on the sideline. If DeMarco Helms will come in, we got a lot of secondary players that can come in right now and step up for us, play big. So if he's going to play for us in the long run, if we're going to be there in the home stretch, win us a national championship again, which I hope we are going to do, he just got to learn how to wrap up and secure the tackle. His interception was amazing. Great read. He ran the route for the receiver, but he has to learn how to wrap up and make tackles, man. He was playing strong side safety or the free safety, him in battle. It's like they're switching on and off. One play he's playing strong, one play he's playing free. So whoever's playing that strong safety got to learn how to come downhill and wrap up. I love Battle's tackle, though. You saw when he came down and laid the boom?
Yep.
He's a boomer.
And you know who else got in there last time? I don't know the exact stats. I think it was like 29 reps or whatever. 29 snaps was DeMarco Helms, and he's another guy that can lay the boom as well. And I think Alabama. I like to see Alabama add Helms just because it's clear that they want to get him some reps as well. And I think don't forget about DeMarco Helms. I think he's going to be good. Q, what about the interior linebackers? Dylan Moses, Kristen Harris. We've talked about it. You know, Kristen Harris playing like a man on fire. 14 tackles, 16 total, leads the team. What do you think about the linebackers overall?
Kristen Harris is, oh my goodness. If I would have saw this Kristen Harris last season, I would have been like, we don't even need Dylan Moses to go to the NFL, you know. But I thank God Dylan Moses came back to mentor him and make him grow up into being a big time player that he's going to be.
Yeah.
We got some linebackers. We got Josh McMillan. We still got Shane Lee. We got Ali Cahoe that I really want to see get on the field this year and play some ball. We got Jalen Moody. If that's the name, I think his name is Jalen Moody.
Jalen Moody. Yeah, you got him.
Yeah, he's too is a boomer too. So I'm trying to see more of a rotation within the linebacker unit. I know this game we're gonna blow out Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin ain't gonna have nothing on us. Saban's gonna be 21 against all his old assistants. 21 wins against his old assistants. We're not worried about Kiffin. But what I hope for is our interior D-line, too, to come strong. A lot of sacks on the quarterback. Hit the quarterback. Smash mouth football. Bring back that 2016 defense that we had. It's all the way, defense wins championships. So that right there is going to win us a championship if that defense is locked up.
All right, last thing before I let you go, Q. It sounds like you're like in downtown New York City right now, but your connection's much better, which I love.
Yes, sir.
Q, last thing that I want to ask you about, Christian Barmore got on the field for the first time against Texas A&M. What do you want to see out of Christian Barmore in Week 3 against Ole Miss?
I want to see him take more snaps and play and fire off the ball like I saw him play against LSU. Mm-hmm. I think that injury is still lingering with him and that he's getting back slowly. But I'm thankful. We're going into Week 3. We haven't had major injuries. I think that new strength and conditioning coach that we brought in and Dr. Blue, they're really doing a great job. Sorry, Scott Cochran. Your service was needed. It was well rendered, and we'll see you. We'll see you in Week 4. And we play Georgia in Week 4.
Yeah. He's a special teams coach. So all eyes on the special teams of Georgia. All right, Q. As you wrap it up, do what you do best, man. Get your blessings out there, man, and we'll move on.
It's game week. It's game week, baby. It's game week, baby. God bless America. God bless Alabama football. God bless Nick Saban. God bless the President of the United States. God bless me, Kyle. God bless you. God bless all the Christmas time fans. Roll Tide, roll. See you Week 4, Georgia. We coming for you.
All right. Thank you very much, Q. Catch up with you soon, buddy.
Have a good one.
All right. That was Q from Brooklyn. Blessings on blessings, right? All right. Next up, we got Demetrius from North Carolina.
Hey.
What's up, Demetrius?
Hey, how you doing, Kyle?
Doing great, man. Thank you very much for calling in. I hope you had a fantastic day, and thank you for spending some time with us tonight, man. You're on. It's your show. Take it, man.
Yeah, I want to reiterate again about the defense, everybody in the uproar, and hey, I mean, folks gonna have to realize football as a whole, from elementary to high school, college, and pros, is changing. Ain't gonna be, unless you just offer God bad, hey, it's gonna be points put up on the board. I mean, it's like the perfect storm came through Alabama the last several years, as far as injuries and athletes leaving early after the junior year to go to the pros instead of like the last championship. You had Sean Hamilton and Rashad Evans. Rashad Evans was fifth year senior. He stuck around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we just don't have that right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna get back. We might, but folks gonna have to just calm down on the defense. The offense scored real quick. So, I mean, I ain't the smartest person in the world. I ain't the dumbest. Defense is gonna be on the field more. I mean, hey, it's a good thing we got a coach that's willing to change, and I mean, I'm thankful that Pete Golden is there because he just didn't jump off the ship like the rest of them. Oh, I've been to Alabama and I won't leave.
Sure.
Like all the rest of them. They use Alabama as a stepping stone for to progress their career. And he's sticking around. It seems like he's there for Alabama. So
yeah,
that's all I have to say.
Well, hold on, Demetrius. I want to kind of elaborate on one point. I think that kind of your ending point, and I agree with you. Just as I was talking about with DeMarco, I think we need a larger sample size of this season before we can really, talk about Pete Golden, because I think it's a different year. I think it's a different game. The offense is so productive. But one of the things you hit on is the fact that, Alabama has so much continuity with their assistant coaches. I mean, look, they only had to add one new coach. That was Freddie Roach, right? They got rid of Brian Baker. So think about all that continuity coming back. I really think that's helped the quarterback play as well. I mean, Steve Sarkisian coming back and him and Mac Jones having that, relationship and I think that's been a spillover. So when you look at Pete Golding, and now I think he's been here for 3 seasons, Saban knows him and he knows Golding. And I think, like I said earlier, I mean, this is Saban's defense and he's going to do what's best for the defense. And if that's keeping Golding around, I mean, that's what he's going to do. I mean, Saban, we've seen him before. Saban will make changes and he hasn't made a change yet.
And you have two sophomores playing inside linebacker. Dylan Moses, even though he had that extra year, he didn't play. And coming off an injury, I've injured myself before. It's always in the back of your mind of getting injured again. Mm-hmm. And mental stuff, a lot of, I reflect back on my years playing football in high school, hey, like my coach said, just do what I tell you to and go in the right spot and then make the play. Don't try to this ain't high. They ain't in high school no more where they can just make a play out of the blue. It's a mental aspect that Coach Saban talks about all the time. They got to execute and hey, just do your job and and that's all you ask for. I mean, do your job and then make a play. I mean, once you do your job, you're in position to make a play.
Yeah, so, I think you're right. And I think when you look at kind of these younger players for Alabama, I mean, they've been playing so well. I was thinking about this. I mean, kind of the younger players are playing so fast, and that's what you want. They're not thinking too much. Like, for example, William Anderson, I'm sure, he knows the concepts. He knows everything, but he's playing so fast. He doesn't have to think about too much. He's just that's how you're supposed to play. That's why he's been so effective. He has, he's looked fantastic through 2 games. I mean, we knew that, kind of the whispers that were coming out of fall training camp was that he was something else. But I mean, to really see him and how effective he's been, and same thing with Kristen Harris. And I think, Saban talked about that, Kristen Harris kind of, plays with a lot more confidence with that Dylan Moses out there. And you're clearly seeing that those guys are doing fantastic. Anything else while we have you on, Demetrius?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Roll Tide, and y'all folks, I mean, to all the ones that's pessimistic, y'all come, I mean, you look at every other team, they putting up a lot of points. They putting up a lot of points also.
Yep. So just relax. Relax and enjoy the
roll
ride.
Tide, and y'all have a good one.
All right. Take it easy, buddy. Thank you very much, Demetrius.
All right. Bye.
All right. Next on the line, we got Jarek from New York. Wants to talk about Pete Golding and Mac Jones. Jarek, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, Kyle, man? Just chilling. I just woke up from a nap, so if there's like anything that, if I talk about the same stuff, just let me know from your previous caller.
No, you're good. We talked about Pete Golding, and we've surprisingly, the majority, the 2 callers that we've had talking about Pete Golding have been, fans of Pete Golding and fans of the defense. Curious to get your take on kind of these first 2 weeks from Alabama, and we, what's there to critique about the offense other than praise, the ball placement from Mac Jones? But what's kind of your assessment of, the defense after 2 games?
It's I would say from compared to last year, it's a little bit better this year because number one, we got more speed. Last year we did not have that advantage at all. This year we're starting to get more speed. We struggled in week one with open field tackling for a little bit in the second half. We cleaned that up a ton. Even though that, of course, there's some mistakes that are going to be made. So I was happy with the open field tackling. I love the progression there. I do love how we're better in the run game. I love how we're better in the run game. We're a lot stronger in the run game. And maybe that's a testament to David Ballou and Matt Rhea and the strength and conditioning department there. But we're a lot stronger. We're starting to hold our own in the front line compared to what it was last year where we're getting pushed back 2-3 yards. And it was to a point, Kyle, where teams were combo blocking us, and they weren't even. It's like they did it without any difficulty at all. Yeah. And maybe that was because of inexperience, maybe because of strength. But this year, it's a lot difficult to kind of try to combo block. It's a lot difficult to kind of really try to control those gaps and really let the run game kind of dictate the pace, which A&M's plan was to run the ball and to kind of and to pretty use those running concepts for that. Of course, Kellen DeMond can use that for his advantage. That's how A&M wins most of their games because of the run game. So compared to last year, I felt that we did a great start so far. There are areas that we need to clean up, such as misalignment. Is that because of spring ball or is that because of Pete Golding he's just not that good? That's something that we have to kind of be patient with. I know last week I was definitely a little impatient because I kind of missed that old Alabama defense. But, at the same time, it's kind of like you look at, 2013 and 2014, we struggled a little bit on defense. We struggled with getting to the passer. It took us 2 years before we can finally get that valuable experience and really have that potential like Tim Williams, Ryan Anderson. Those guys were juniors and fourth and fifth year seniors by the time those guys actually flourished. So maybe we have to be more patient. Maybe this year the defense is not going to be as good as those previous years. But one thing I would love to see is that, if we're going to be running cover one or cover zero and use a bunch of man-to-man coverage concepts, I would love to see us clean up on those mistakes, get that communication going. I would say that's my big problem. I think the rest of it is more patient. It's more that we just got to be a little more patient with.
Do you think that Surtain and Job are capable to be effective cover one corners when called on? And especially, now you got another freshman out there by the name of Malachi Moore, who, got targeted. Yeah. I think it was like 13 times or something like that by Texas A&M.
Well, Job has a lot of potential. They both have they both have the potential. One thing I would say about Patrick, if you look at his film, he has struggled against bigger, stronger, more physical receivers. He struggled against those types. And again, maybe it's not his fault of his own, but you look at Seth Williams, you look at CeeDee Lamb from the Sugar Bowl, you look at Justin Jefferson, you look at Jamar Chase, you look at some of the bigger, stronger receivers, he's struggled with them. And I think that's kind of been Alabama's Achilles heel over the last 2 to 3 years, is that our secondary, even though that we're huge, our average height is like 6'1", but we've struggled with bigger, stronger receivers that know how to not let the corners jam you. That knows how, if they press, it's over. It's a free release for me. And, so that's one thing that we have to kind of fix. That's one thing we got to get stronger with. I think they both have the potential to do that. Even Trayvon Diggs, who was a second-round pick last year, you can make an argument his stock kind of went down because people were kind of questioning his physicality, especially if you're going to be a man-to-man coverage corner and you're getting dominated by Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and Seth Williams and some of the bigger, strong receivers. You got to learn how to jam. You got to learn how to turn your hips more effectively. That's one thing I think Pat is definitely better than Trayvon, is the fact that he can turn his hips and has better instincts. Not as physical, though, compared to some of the other corners that we did in the past.
It's funny. Jared can break it down. So can Q. And both these guys are from Brooklyn. And, we have Honeycutt here who's on the show. And he's like, it's so weird hearing all these breakdowns from New York about Alabama football. Alabama football, goes far and wide. It's a national brand. We've had people from New Zealand, come in, so other parts of the globe. And that's just Alabama football. It's just not Alabama, right? You guys go hard for Alabama football all across the country.
Kyle, there's a side in in the city of Buffalo. There's a side. It's on the west side, Bama Nation. On the west side, which is normally it's more Hispanic, more African American type of side. It's nothing but Bama fans. In the suburbs where I live at, in Tonawanda, nothing but LSU fans.
Yeah,
it's crazy because this is Buffalo Bills home, but it's like it's New York, it's SEC land everywhere.
Yeah,
so Bama Nation's taking over, man. We're all over the place.
Yeah. Hey, Jarek, I hate to do this. It's all about Ole Miss, it's all about Bama, but I mean, it's hard not to look kind of one game further at the Alabama-Georgia game. You've seen Georgia, you watch Georgia and Auburn. Does Georgia have the offense? The defense is good. Do they have the offense to beat or to at least keep up with Alabama?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because this is going to depend on two things. If Alabama can stone the run game for Ole Miss, if they can dominate the line of scrimmage, if they can get better as far as dominating the line of scrimmage, Georgia's offense has no shot. They have no shot because guess what? Because they predicate their bases off the run. They dominate by trying to control the line of scrimmage and run the football. You look at the SEC Championship game for 2018. What happened in the first half? They dominated the run game. It set them up for play action, tired our defense. What happened in the National Championship game? They set up the run game, came off of play action a lot with Jake Fromm. But then it's funny because we made those adjustments in the second half, stoned them in the run game. Yeah. They couldn't do anything. Stetson Bennett Stetson Bennett, I think, could be a game managing quarterback, same like with Jake Fromm and Aaron Murray. Yep. But he's not no Justin Fields. He can't use his mobility in the run game as well. So if this Bama defensive line, if they can't let Georgia's offensive line, which is a physical offensive line, but they're not better than Tennessee's. Tennessee's offensive line is better than Georgia's offensive line.
They're really
they're
good.
Bigger and stronger there in that particular area. So if we can dictate the offensive line for Georgia, they have no shot of beating us.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to ask you that just because, kind of when you look at Georgia, I mean, that game's on everybody's mind, even though, this one is the most important one is the one in front of you. But, in this particular case, when you have Georgia, Alabama, and kind of, the history that these two programs have had over the last couple of years, it's hard not to think about that one. Anything else, Jarek, while we got you on the line, man?
I would say, looking forward, I can understand if a lot more people is overlooking Ole Miss, even though I think that we shouldn't, because Ole Miss receivers are very dangerous, and they have the offensive personnel, at least in the skill positions. They're elite. Matter of fact, you can make an argument that they're better than Georgia's. So it's a good test for us going into that Georgia game. Yes. And like I said again, if we can just dictate the offensive line, if our run defense can hold up, we'll be fine in those particular aspects. And our offensive line, I'm not worried about the run game, Kyle. Not worried about the run game at all because look at last year. We had a slow start last year. That was the criticism last year was why isn't the offensive line really dominating? It's more of a chemistry thing. I think it's just more of a chemistry thing. I don't think it's more physicality. I feel like it's more chemistry. And, I think we will get that together, I think, during the Georgia game. I think the Georgia game is where we're going to use Najee Harris. He'll be explosive. And I think that's another thing, too. He's been limited with his carries. Yeah. Right? I know he's averaging like 300-400 yards of carries, but he's been limited with his carries. So we got to get this offensive line more time. This is still the best offensive line with Tennessee, I believe, in the nation. Yep. And I think Alabama will be fine in the next 2 weeks.
Yep. No, I agree, man. I'm glad you called in, Jarek. It's always good to rap with you. You always bring such great dialogue. I mean, all our callers tonight, right spot on. So from DeMarco, Demetrius, Q, and of course, Jarek, thank you very much for calling in. I appreciate it, Jarek. Let's call in for the post-game show if you're around, man. And of course, we'll catch up with you next time.
Oh, for sure, man.
I know those. I know you're Bills Mafia, man. They're certainly on the rise, man. So I know they got the Niners down on the schedule. So, but for now, I'm happy that they're doing well for you.
Oh, yeah. We might not even play this week, Kyle. We might not even play because of Tennessee and them holding, private practices and breaking NFL protocol. So,
sure.
I don't know. This is turning things a mess. But, like I said, I am looking forward towards that 49ers game.
Yep, definitely. All right. Cool, Jarek. We'll catch up with you next time, buddy.
All right. You too, man.
All right. My good buddy, Jarek from New York. Appreciate it. All right, fam. We're about at the hour. Thank you very much for everybody who is joined in with us tonight. Appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe. You can catch all the coverage back at BamaInsider.com. I had fun tonight. I always have fun catching up with my fans right here on BamaInsider.com. You guys are my family. You guys are a big part of the show. And, get all dressed up for you guys every single Wednesday night so we can talk Alabama Crimson Tide football. Got the Tailgate Show coming your way on Friday night with Mick Gillespie, and we'll continue to break down Alabama and Ole Miss. You can follow all our coverage back at BamaInsider.com. The free promo code is simply Roll Tide at checkout. My name is Kyle Henderson. Email is kyle@BamaInsider.com. If you're curious to get any type of, the subscription or, just have a question in general, hit me up, kyle@BamaInsider.com. Follow me at Rivals _Kyle on Twitter. And I'm always here to make sure that you guys have, great content when it comes to Alabama Crimson Tide football. Andrew Bone kills it on recruiting. Tony Scalis and Tyler Waldrop, they do our team stuff. I kind of wear a bunch of hats and love being here to talk Alabama Crimson Tide football with you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. My name is Kyle Henderson. Thank you very much for all the super chats. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll catch you soon next time, and you can catch up with me all the time at BamaInsider.com. Have a good night, fam. Be good people. We'll catch up with you soon. Thank you.